Okay, welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for taking time out of your night. It's night where you're at, right?
No, it's day. I'm earlier than you guys, I think. I'm in LA.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah.
we're 3 hours earlier. Yeah, so
Got
it's now 4:38 over here. And you're
okay,
like 7:38, something like
yeah.
that, right? Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you still got a good amount of day left.
I know. You know what? It flies by so fast. It really does. It's like, where did it go? I get up very early. I work hard at what I
Mhm.
know what I can. And the day just, as I said, flies like crazy.
I know it does. Like even when I go to work, it just. I mean, when I'm in work, it seems like it goes slow, but then as soon as I get out of work, it seems like the hours just fly and fly and fly.
Yeah, the imagination is amazing, isn't it? What we can think with our heads and what we can make it, what the things we can make happen, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the first question I wanted to ask you is, I see you do like a little bit of everything. You act, you write, and you produce
Yes.
too.
Yeah, the writing is to be honest, not my greatest strength.
Okay.
Uh, because when I don't try to sell something that I'm not really very good at. And I can't say that I'm not very good, but I'm more inexperienced. So when I get concepts, I'm actually starting to write a little bit more. But when I get concepts and ideas, I do try to hire a writer, and that's very difficult because a lot of people call themselves writers, like a lot of people call themselves actors,
Yeah.
and they think that sometimes they think they're great, and they're not. And the problem with that is that when you hire somebody, you they're not going to work for free, right? So
Mhm.
you hire them and you say, I'm going to give you X amount of money, and you come up with it. And then when they come up with it, it's not at all what you intended. And that's a problem, because they go, oh yeah, I can do this, I can do that,
Yeah.
the type. And so I've gone through this quite a few times with different projects. But actually, you were talking about that werewolf game film,
Mhm.
and that's an interesting, if you want to talk about it, an
Yeah,
interesting
definitely.
way that it came about. And basically, there's a film festival called First Frame International,
Mhm.
and they just had their second festival. They were IMDb qualified,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, and the first one was in Vegas last year, and Rob Margulies, who's the director.
Mhm.
He's involved as a producer of that film. He wasn't the director on that particular one, but he had a contest within the film festival where the best screenplay that won, he was going to make a movie for it. In other words, he would pay for the film
Oh.
up to a certain amount, but it was a nice amount. And so he found this werewolf game.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and the concept is, very high concept. I can't speak to it very well because, yeah, again, I'm not totally involved in that particular project, but it does deal with, it's a combination of social media and horror, which,
Nice.
yeah. So it's a very contemporary kind of feel. And as you know, they had some wonderful stars, Tony Todd, who's amazing. He's like the king of horror, and
Oh my
some
god, yes.
wonderful, yeah, wonderful. And Rob, he's my director and producer. Um, Actually, he gets great actors that are already proficient and known in
Mhm.
films, and part of the reason is so he can sell it.
Well, yeah, of course.
Unfortunate. It's unfortunate that the little people like me can't I shouldn't say that about myself, but I don't have the same marquee value at this point that they do. And in producing and acting, a lot of the time I have an entry into the films, which is great because there's this one we did recently. We just got out of post and we're starting to shop around with it and, hit some film festivals with it. And it's called Infidelity. It's 2 words.
Okay, yeah. I saw that on your page, your
I am,
IMDb page.
yeah, yeah. And it's really a real, it has a lot of facets to it, but it's an unusual story. And we were able to attract some amazing talent to this. And if I can name who it is, if you want to
Yeah,
hear.
definitely.
Okay, so we have Chris Parnell,
Yeah.
who used to be on Saturday Night Live. He's an amazing actor. I mean, amazing. I don't have to tell you if you've seen him. And Cara Buono, who's on Stranger Things,
Mm-hmm.
and Dennis Haysbert, who's on everything. Dennis Haysbert used to play President Palmer on 24. That's probably before your time, that show 24. Did you ever see that?
Oh
It's a
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of
yeah.
course, I saw that. Yeah.
He's done so many. He did Todd Haynes did his film. Wow, I can't think of the name of it right now. It was with Julianne Moore and it was with Dennis, and he almost got nominated for an Oscar for that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and a lot of people like outside know him as the Allstate guy. He's he used to do those commercials, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's just a fine actor and a wonderful human being. And then we have Willow Shields, who used to be in the Hunger Games, and she's
Hmm.
fantastic. Oh, and one of my favorite actresses ever, Ileana Douglas.
Yes.
Ileana, you know who she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did Cape Fear, but she did hundreds and hundreds of
Oh
films.
yeah, yeah.
And she's, it was a fantastic cast, and it was a very intimate film. And we shot it in a very short period of time.
Oh really?
It was a SAG film, so we had to go by the rules, but we shot
Okay.
we didn't have huge amounts of locations, which helps you, shoot faster. And of
Yeah.
course, the actors, when they're really that good and that professional, they come prepared. So you don't lose a lot of time and you don't have a lot of issues. And I'm really loving the result of it.
All right.
Yes, it deals with a couple that's very much in love, and the woman is dying of cancer.
Oh,
And the part of the premise is that her husband said, you've only been with me, and maybe there's something that you want to do before the end, maybe you want to have an affair. And it becomes about, yeah, it's very interesting.
oh,
And
wow.
and it becomes about the relationships that you build, the relationship that he has. He's a magician, he's a former magician,
Okay.
and I play his best friend in it. And
Nice.
yeah, I love the role I have. I mean, it's like, I'm wearing like a big red wig. I kind of look like Cyndi Lauper in it. It's like, you would
Nice. Yeah.
recognize. But it's a really well-crafted, well-made film, and Rob was the writer of that.
Okay.
Now he's a very good writer. Yeah. And yeah, I think we were all pleased about it. We had a screening here in LA for the actors and for their representatives. And I have very high hopes for it. It's actually a very wonderful story, and there's a lot of funny parts to it. It's not like morose,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but it's very true to life. And I think people are going to be very touched by it. They're going to be equally sad and happy. And that's kind of nice,
Oh, definitely.
films like that. And I think it's also a big slice of life. I mean, it's unfortunate, but a lot of people, aren't well. And in a
Yeah.
way, it gives them hope. So yeah, so that's that particular film. We've had some nice articles in like the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline and The Wrap. So we're getting a little bit of everything there.
Oh,
Yeah. And there's another film I have coming out this year in which I was very fortunate, and that was just strictly by audition. And it's
okay.
called Junction.
Oh, all right.
And Junction was written by Brian Greenberg, and who's also directing it. It's his first directorial uh, debut.
Oh,
Um,
sweet.
yeah, it was produced by the guys that I'm trying to think of the name of the film. It was a huge Martin Scorsese film, but they work with De Niro and Scorsese, and it's a company. Oh my God, it's terrible. I'm telling you stuff and then I don't remember the names. It's not wonderful. I'm like on the spot. The Verdi, the Verdi family, they are producers and they've done a lot of films. I'm trying to think of they were involved with The Irishman.
Oh, that movie. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really good movie.
Oh, no kidding. I know, I know. So their new one is Junction. I haven't seen it out yet, but it's going to be coming, and I don't have a huge role in it, but I have a terrific role as the wife of I play the wife of the man that it's a very controversial subject. It's about the opioid crisis.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And the man that used to have the pharmaceuticals that created the oxy and got a lot of people hooked on it. And it comes from 3 points of view: from the point of view of the family itself, from the point of view of their son, and from the point of view of the woman, the doctor that dispenses it in the different places, you know? So you get like 3 different stories that sort of work together. And I think it's a very important subject.
Well, yeah, that definitely is. Like that's really bad. I mean, everyone. There's a lot of people that are abusing it, and
But they're
it's
abusing it because they're hooked on it. And they're hooked on it
yeah,
because for whatever reason, and within the movie, you kind of see that, you know, people like, I mean, you have an accident and they give you that in the hospital and then you continue it. And,
yeah,
you know, it's like a disease. If, you know, but they prescribed it without any, you know, caring
mhm.
about what would happen. So the story actually gets you into that. It has an amazing cast also.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yes, Brian was one of the stars. He's done several TV shows. One Tree Hill was one of them,
Oh,
and
yeah. I
yeah,
remember.
and then they had Sophia Bush is in that film, and
Yeah.
there are a lot of, you know, well-known and a couple of well-known British actors. Just good movie making, you know?
Yeah, that definitely. It
Yeah.
sounds like it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that opening up. And then I, you know, I do TV and I do my own shows and that type of thing as well, because I really believe that if you're in this business, today there's no excuse not to make your own content.
You're right.
And it gives us, you know, I started producing maybe 10 years ago, but I've been acting a lot longer than that.
Oh, wow.
And I realized, you know, you can, I mean, I haven't done it on an iPhone, but people can, you know. There's a movie called Tangerine that came out a few years ago about East LA,
Oh,
and it was
never seen it.
entirely shot on an iPhone. And
Really?
yeah, it was an Oscar contender.
Oh, wow.
I may be
How
wrong.
come I
It
didn't
probably
know that?
won. It probably won some awards as well.
Huh.
And I think could be wrong, but I think it was Sean Baker.
All right.
I think that's who the person is that did it. But to me, I really feel that all of us actors without a lot of money can create and get ourselves seen in ways that maybe the industry doesn't see us, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, I don't want to just hit home because I look a certain way, but I also want to play addicts and you know, troubled people and
Yeah.
victims of abuse and all of those things. I mean, it's not, you know, I mean, I love doing comedy as well. So it's like pretty much what comes my way and where I'm at that point. But now I don't, you know, when you do your own films, you don't have to wait for it to come your way.
Yeah, exactly. You just do it.
You do it, then
Yeah.
you go into film festivals. I mean, this is something that I would, you know, a lot of the time you interview people that aren't in the trenches so much anymore.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, they're already on bigger shows and they have a name, that a recognizable name, let's say.
Yeah.
And but if you don't have that, or even if you do, you know, if you do, you have a little bit more of an in to get it sold, you know. But that to me is very important as an actor. We no longer can just say, oh, I'm an actor, and then
Mhm.
say, well, I only do this or I only do that. I mean, you can, but it's not gonna move the needle, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the time, you know, you can see I look very upscale and whatever, but a lot of the time, as I said, I want to play junkies and all of that kind of stuff. So the world is not going to be giving me that anytime soon
No.
until I have, you know, a more recognizable name, I suppose. But I can make those movies myself. And then I put them into film festivals. And honestly, the last 3 years, and you can see it on IMDb, I've won more than 40 Best Actress awards in all these festivals.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but the thing is that, you know, again, it's recognized by IMDb. However,
Yeah.
they're not Sundance or Tribeca, you know, different level of festival. But hey, I'll take it. It's getting out there,
Hey,
you know.
you won over 40 awards. That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually more than, you know, it's more than 40 right now. IMDb has me listed as 30 plus, and then like 54 of them that aren't, you know, recognized yet. It's very tricky to put them on there. They have a very specific way of doing it. And
Oh,
you kind of
really?
need to be like a brain surgeon to figure it out. And once it's on, you can't take it off. You know,
Oh,
it's very hard to take it off. So you have to be really careful. But, you know, so I'm carefully putting on, you know, the rest of them when I figure it out at time, you know. I need someone else to put it on. Some of my producers put it on for me, but you know, not all. And you know, it's an interesting business because it has so many parts to it.
mhm.
And I'm particularly interested in helping people that come into the business, you know, younger people, not necessarily, they could be older. I started older, but you know, just to help them navigate this because it can be a joyous ride. It's just a lot of people when they come in, they go, oh, so when am I gonna, you know, make my big movie? When am I gonna, you know,
Right.
and the truth is you work towards it, and the ride in this industry is everything.
Yeah.
It's not the destination. I mean, you have to have goals and all of that, but
Oh, yeah, of course.
every day, you know, to have this joyous ride and to, if you know kind of where your head is at, which mine is really about uplifting people, whether it's a drama or a comedy, you know, obviously it's more easy with a comedy,
Well, yeah.
easier. But the dramas also, you know, need to have a little bit of lightness to them, no matter how dark they may be. And just being a storyteller and presenting things that people can relate to. It gives you a lot of perceived power. There's no real power in it. Until you're bought and whatever, you know, until you sell it. I do have 3 series out there right now that are being shopped around.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one is was written from it was taken from a book.
Okay.
We are doing an adaptation of it for limited series, and that's called Knights of the Turntable.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I heard of that.
Yeah, so it's a pretty amazing book. My brother wrote. My brother is British. He was born and raised. We have the same father, different moms, so we never got raised together.
Oh, okay.
And he's British, and he wrote the book in England. But it's based on, you know, the stories is based on American female band singers of the 50s to 60s, which was a huge time. You know, it was around the Sinatra and Elvis time, and then you know, and then it goes on into we don't get to the Beatles, but it's sort of that time period before we got to the Beatles. And
Okay. Okay.
it's hugely accurate because my bro is in the music business. He's the president of Connie Francis's company in America.
Really?
Yes, so he handles a lot of her business. Do you you know who Connie
Oh,
Francis is?
yeah, yeah, of course I do.
She had more albums sold than Elvis Presley.
Wait, are
At
you
one point,
serious?
at one point in the history of when they were both working, she had more albums around the world than he did.
Oh my God.
Amazing. She still is. She's lives, she lives in Florida, and she's doesn't sing anymore, but she
Yeah.
really is an icon. Amazing woman.
Wow,
And
more albums sold than Elvis.
can you imagine?
No.
Not totally, but at one
Yeah,
time period,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And she's got one of the most amazing voices ever,
Yeah,
a female
she really
singer.
does. Yes.
Very unique. When you hear it, it's like Barbara Streisand, who is
Yeah.
an icon, obviously, and Connie has been as well. And you always recognize the voice when you hear it, and she can
Of
sing in every
course.
language. So that's one of the things, because she became very popular, like singing in Spanish or in French or Italian, because that's her background. And so that story is about the female band singers of the period and how they rose up. It's completely, it's based on truth, but it's fictionalized, and it has murder in it. It has romance. It has love relationships, men and men, women and women, or whatever, or just, male, female. Shouldn't even say that on the show, but and it's a wonderful tribute to that time period. And it also deals with the payola scandals of those periods. So you would be understanding about that. Yes, it's because you know what the payola was.
I heard of it. I'm trying to remember what that was. What
What it
was it?
is in the time where it's like pay for play. So in that
Oh,
time in the
okay.
50s, they would go around, because you would go to DJs and you would give them the record, because it wasn't, what we have now,
Yeah.
and they would play it, but they'd be paid off, and it was completely illegal.
Oh.
So, it's kind of like the history of that time period, and it includes all of that and all kinds of other things. So I have very high hopes for this. I'd like to see that as a limited series. It's being shopped around.
That
And
sounds really cool. Like that definitely should be made.
yeah. But that one is a big project, so whoever buys it, because, it's anytime you do a period film, the expenses go up.
Yeah.
And also it will have named people in it. But all of that's still not out. So that's one of them. And then I have another show that I've been holding it close to the vest, but it deals with a part of life that I'm very interested in, and that's about human growth.
Okay.
And female human growth in particular for this story. And it's about a woman who was married very young, lived in the sticks, took care of kids and husband and all of that. And life was not good to her. Her husband wasn't good to her. And so she leaves to start a life on her own. It's called Lola Does Manhattan.
All
And
right. Okay. There you
yeah,
go.
and I play Lola, and I play her alter ego Heidi as well. So listen, I'm not happy with just one job. I have to have two on the same movie. But
You have the good version and the evil version,
no,
right?
neither one is evil.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So the good version is the inner self. That the inner self that we have, you have it, I have it. It's not to be just for women. It's that instinct you have. Don't do this, don't do this.
Yeah.
But then you do it anyway, and then you learn the lesson and the consequences. And
True.
so Lola is more, I play her too. And Lola is more out there, more like the rest of us that are flawed. And Heidi is her inner self, and she's very zen.
Yeah.
The answers are all inside of us, is the point.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a comedy. And it's also a dramedy. I mean, there's some heavier points in there, but it's all about growing by learning to listen to yourself. And they go through wild adventures in Manhattan. And so
Nice.
Manhattan is like another part of the equation. It's almost like one of the stars of the piece.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's the one that I'm looking to do a series with.
many things to do out there.
Well, New York is such a fabulous place to film.
Yeah, definitely.
And now I've really fallen in love with LA.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, I never knew that I would. I mean, I'm such a staunch New Yorker, and I got here and I find it very it's more laid back. It's more less tense. Of course there's stress everywhere,
Well,
but
yeah.
I just feel very comfortable in that arena. So I'm looking forward to spending, being bi-coastal, spending as much time here as I can and as much time with my kids, etc., in New York. Uh, so it's like a wealth of riches, and I have the best of both worlds.
I know exactly.
Yeah, and it took this long to get here, and I'm thrilled about that. And I'm really trying to up the game. I used to do a lot of theater, and I love
Oh,
theater.
okay.
Yeah, I love theater. It's a great training ground. It's a wonderful thing to do because you have a live audience.
Well,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, but I've moved. Now my interest is in the film and television areas,
Mhm.
making some inroads. It used to be that film was like the most, like that was the highest pinnacle, and the television was like a side gig, like a
Yeah,
lot,
but
a
now,
lot of
now television series are huge. Like they're bigger than films now.
exactly. It's all switched, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right. It used to be like, oh my God, if I just got a film, and now I've been making a lot of films, and the television is harder to get
Yeah.
into. It's extremely technical too. Although, I've done a couple of things. I just did, well, not just, maybe a few months ago, I did FBI Most Wanted.
Yeah, I saw that. You worked with Dylan, right?
Dylan McDermott, he's amazing. Yeah. I mean, he was a bona fide movie star, and then he had a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
series, and he's very talented and very good at what he does. And, I was very lucky for that. Um, and there are other, like, I've done Law and Order, I've done some, and some smaller stuff in projects that you may not know about, but at any rate, that's kind of where the focus is now. But
Okay.
I love film. Film is a little more, it's a little bit looser in the sense that you can expand a little bit more. Television is more, it's more technical in the sense that, you're basically in this box, and at theater's completely out because you can be out there, you can forget
Yeah,
your lines, you can
exactly.
improvise. With TV there's no improvisation, it's all a writer's medium.
Oh, okay.
And they say, that what has been said is that film is a director's medium and television is a writer's medium.
Ah,
Yeah, and hence, we're going through a writer's strike, which is
I
devastating to the
noticed that.
industry right now. Yeah. And for me personally, for good reason. People, things have changed in the TV world, so
Mhm.
that where people used to write a series and they had a regular job and they, to feed their kids and their families.
Yeah.
Now, you have like 5 episodes, you're out, then you have to look for your next job.
Oh,
And things have changed a lot, and the compensation has to change accordingly. Otherwise, these people can't make a living. And honestly, without writers, basically we're improvisers
yeah,
at
yeah.
nothing. That's where it starts, on the page.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're very important to a film or a television show. I mean, you need them to write what the actors are going to say.
Well, exactly, or what they're going to do. Good
Yeah.
television, I mean, film and television are mediums that, it's not, of course it's what you say, but those mediums, it's a picture medium, it's a visual medium. So a lot of the time as an actor, there's a little bit of a struggle where, it's not about getting your lines right. you have to know them,
Yeah.
but it's about living in that character, and using the lines, but the behavior is what you see on television. And this is something I've been, going to classes and learning. And I think everybody that's an actor has to keep on, I mean, unless they have a show that they work on every single day, they still need to work on their craft,
Oh,
we have
that,
to
yeah.
do. So, so it's all about the behavior that you exhibit that the audience will see versus the words that you say.
Okay. Okay.
The words that you say, you can say, I love you, and you can say it, like, yeah, I love you, or, I love you, I mean, they're completely different meanings with the same words,
You're right. You're right
Yes.
there. Yeah. Yeah. There's a certain way you say something. You either say it from the heart or you just say it just to say it.
Well, yeah, I mean, all of it is from the heart, but it's something that I personally, always have to watch out for. And that is, acting is not feeling. Your emotions do not play on television or film. I mean, if the emotion comes to you, great,
Yeah.
but it's more about what it is that you want and what
Okay.
the situation is and what your obstacle is, and it's a lot of wordy stuff, but it's something that you have to, because it's a whole body thing, it's your mind, your body, and whatever. And instinct is very important in it, because if you seriously don't have any instincts, you're just saying lines, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
And sometimes you're emotionally involved, and there's other ways to find the emotion in it. I mean, training, this training that's important,
Oh, okay. Wow, I'm like learning a lot of stuff about film and television. I never knew this.
Well, I'm talking about it from somebody in the trenches. I mean, I've seen that you've had some, guests that are
Yeah.
living and breathing it, and to
Oh,
them,
yeah,
it's like
exactly.
an everyday thing. Because I used to do soap operas years ago,
Oh,
and
right.
I didn't do huge things with it. It was the beginning of my career, and we had a
Mhm.
lot of soaps in New York.
Well, yeah,
And,
yeah.
you
There
know,
there were a ton.
it was like a bread and butter work, because you get
Mhm.
called in even for smaller stuff, and you got used to being in front of these cameras and doing, national television work.
Yeah.
And they're very different from anything else too. You can see it when you watch it. It's the plot lines, and it's one of the hardest things you can do, because every day, if you're a regular character on
Yeah.
those, it's like you can get 20, 40 pages a day, to
Oh
memorize.
my god.
Yeah, it's a very, very hard work. Very.
Wow.
Yeah. And a good acting is good acting, but there's a difference with theater actor and what you can do on stage that you can't really do in the little box, you know? So it's
Wow. Okay.
it's a constant learning experience, and learning how to produce is a whole nother thing, and I've done that through doing it,
Yeah.
and you make mistakes, and listen, that's what we're here for. We're here to learn, I think. And so the mistakes that you make are your stepping stones. They're really a gift, so that you're able to move, forward. I mean, look at you with how you've overcome,
Hmm.
and you're doing shows and everything, and there are many people that would hide, and it's
Yeah.
the saddest thing, because there's so much that you can give the world. And to me, the best stories are always triumph over adversity. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be any genre. It could be the horror genre that you love. It could be, any genre at all. As long as someone starts one way and they overcome and go forward and thrive based on their courage and their willingness to, grow.
Hmm. Yeah. Wow. I love listening.
Well, that's
This,
why you're good at what you do, because you're listening. But
yeah.
ask me more questions. I'm not giving you any room to ask me questions.
I don't need to ask any questions. Like your stories are just like really amazing. Like, I love listening to what you're saying. Like, you're telling me stuff I didn't even know, like behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, that's why, there's an actor you had on that I saw the interview, Ronan
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stein, who's an amazing actor. I mean, we would love to get him for the series. Um, the my brother says he's perfect. He knows his work very well. Uh,
Okay.
Series of Knights of the Turntable.
Yes.
Well, hopefully when we're ready to pitch it to his agent and whatever, he'll be on board if he's interested. Sometimes we have
Yeah.
to get through the representation,
Oh my God, that's a pain. That is a big pain. Like,
It
with
can.
him, I was I was I tried to get him because I wanted to interview him about 911 Lone Star,
Yeah.
and his agents kept turning me down season after season, and then he was doing a horror movie on the off season of the TV show. He was filming a horror movie, Smiley Happy Killers or something like that it was
Yeah,
called.
yeah. I saw.
And I reached out to the people that made the film, and I was like, "Listen, I'm a huge fan of Ronan, and I would love to interview him about the horror movie." And they're the ones that set it up. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't his agent. Like, it was the people in the film that set it up for me, because every time I went to his agents, it was always no, 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 no,
Well,
no.
there's no financing behind that.
Yeah.
And but you have a lot of followers. I mean, I looked, you have a lot of followers. I had quite a few on Instagram until somebody hacked my account.
Oh
It was so
no.
upsetting. Oh man, it was so upsetting. I had like over 10,000 followers, which is not nearly as much as you've got, but I don't have a show either. And and then some male or female, who knows, hacked me. And then they said, if you want your account back, you can pay me.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I was sort of playing dumb, like, what do you mean? Kind of thing. And the next thing I know, they took my entire thing and it was gone. My page was gone, everything was gone. So I had to start from scratch like 3 months ago. So now I'm at 2,000. I mean, it's meaningless in its own way, but it's kind of like a fall from grace kind of thing, that some stranger, would just go and steal your personal stuff. I don't know who knows? It could have been a 15-year-old kid, we don't know because it's
Yeah.
blind, you don't know. There's no communication except I want money. Ridiculous. So yeah, but you do have a lot of followers, which is really cool. I saw that you did a thing with Tulsa King, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
with
just
Sly.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
on. I don't think I saw that
Oh,
interview. I saw the show. I saw I was invited to Paramount Plus. Was it Paramount Plus? Maybe saying the wrong thing here. At any rate, Tulsa King was, yeah, it was Paramount Plus. And they had the first episode of the show, that
oh,
they screened, and then afterwards they had, invited party, and they had sets there of all their shows like Yellowstone, that they created just for that event, which is amazing. And it was just, well, first of all, the show was terrific. I think it's one of the best roles he's had
yes,
in a very,
definitely.
very long time because he's very funny in it.
Yeah, yeah.
He's very what's the word? I mean, he's aged in our business.
Well,
It's
yeah,
easier
yeah,
for
of
men
course.
than women, but still he put that into the show. They have that as part of what it is,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
it's very cool, because he's very open about stuff. And
That
it's
was
I
a
think
very good show.
yeah, it's a very enjoyable show, and I think he should do great with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was so much fun. Like, just like, like, he was on the link, and I'm over there like just asking him a question, and I was like, oh my God, I was like, I just asked Sylvester Stallone a question. Like,
He's just, everybody that's met him, and that's not me, but everybody that's met him, I mean, not me, I may agree with him, but I've never met him. Said he's just a great guy and he's
he
great to
seems it,
work
yeah.
with. And he's, I mean, that's what you want. You don't want to get people as a producer. God, it's awful. When you get people on set that are, divisive, and now you got to put out fires where you don't need to put them out. My sets are always like warm and, and just, I think it's much more productive to have a good relationship with the actors between them, that they're comfortable, that they're able to do their craft in a way that's not squeezed or, yeah, because the film we were talking about, the Rob's film, Infidelity,
Yeah.
was, we shot it like 80% in my apartment.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's another thing, when you're a filmmaker, it's great to make a movie that doesn't have a lot of sets because it's much cheaper to do. That doesn't mean that, you should sacrifice the storyline for it. But if you're going to sit down and write something that you're going to produce, it makes sense that you would have as minimal a set as possible and as few actors as possible.
Mhm.
And you can make a movie today for like, I mean, the shorts that I did before I went into a bigger, into feature production.
Yeah.
And you can make them, in like 2-3 days, and you can make,
Wow.
yeah,
Damn.
because look, today they have 1-minute movies. I don't know how they quite do that, but but they're 5-6 minute movies. I've won awards for those, because it's like a little story and then you go to the next story. It's a great thing to be able to do, shorts. And honestly, 15 minutes or less for a short film is the best timing,
Okay. Okay.
because programming, the programmers, like, they can't, if you have half an hour and everybody else has 15, it's like they have to put it into the mix. So yeah, so I've been doing that, and that creatively satisfies me in between work.
Nice.
The
Nice.
odds with acting are insane. I mean, any of us stay in it because there's money in it if you get it. And when they first, when they're first looking for people, it's like
Yeah.
2,000 people get sent in by agents.
Okay.
And then they have to only see 30, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, to test, to figure it out. It's a little more now because we do a little self-taping. So we don't have to make an appointment, come in, leave, and then there's less time for people who self-taping. They could be on vacation and watch the tapes. They don't have to be, so it's different. But there's more higher numbers now. You get more auditions, but you have more people competing for it. So basically, out of whatever the 2,000, you end up with only one.
Oh, wow.
And it's assuming that you're a good actor, because most people, well, not most people, but if you're in the union like I am, a lot of them are wonderful actors. So it's not a shortage of that. It's a matter of getting the actor for the role, and the way as an actor that that they like you, because you don't get any feedback generally at all. You just do your thing. You never hear from them again after you slaved for like whatever amount of time and put the thing on tape and did whatever. And you don't hear from them. But the proof is that they call you back for other roles.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
they liked your work and they're wanting to help you out. But it's maybe there's a new method that's going to come one day. It's a very hard job for the casting directors, and in general, I don't think they're paid that well. And I'm going to say it right here, that I think that they should have Oscars for casting directors.
There you go.
Emmys, they have Emmys.
Yeah.
And then they have their own, which is the Artios Awards.
Oh, okay.
But they're not getting the recognition or the money that they should be getting. It's a really hard job, and casting like an ensemble,
Mhm.
sometimes that's what makes the film, the
Yeah.
character that that you're casting in it. So there's so many moving parts to this business, from the producing, which is like everything, you have your finger in every pie. It was hard. It was hard to do the acting and the producing for me, because I had
Yeah.
a larger role, and then at the same time I have to, it's kind of like, what is it, patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time kind of thing. So yeah, but I love it. I mean, I have so much fun with it. And to me, people that are successful are, I think it's wonderful, but I don't feel any more about them than I do for people coming in and wanting to do better, just because they're not well known doesn't mean anything, you know.
You're right.
It
You're
means
absolutely.
money in some ways, and that's where, agents and
Well, yeah, of course.
studios, and this is one of the reasons we're having these issues with the writer's strike, because there's creative and there's business, and if you can't
Mhm.
match them well, you get this kind of thing. And yeah, there's a strike going on, and there's looming strikes for the Directors Guild, and there's looming strikes for SAG-AFTRA, my union.
Oh,
That's
wow.
that. So if they can't resolve what's going on, it's gonna be a long haul. And if it's a long haul, all these people that are making all the money in these production houses and don't want to share
Mhm.
are going to be in trouble, because there's going to be no content. They're going to have to keep on redoing shows. Nobody's going to be happy about that.
Well,
They
yeah,
make so
exactly.
much money. It's crazy. It's like at an impasse.
Wow.
So yeah. And we have to keep working. I mean, we're not allowed to work in TV. I mean, we are, but not with new material.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't cross a picket line.
Well,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
never do that. And it's so that's the time for you to write your own material. It's a time for you to get all your eggs in a row, because is it eggs in a row? I don't know, it's some expression. Uh, but this is the time for you to really feel like where you're going and what you're doing is setting the preparation, because as soon as the strike is over, they're going to have so much content to make, and all of us are going to be busier than we can even,
Oh,
when I say busier in terms of auditions, because we can get, you know, right now, for me, it's like a couple a month, not two, but more, sometimes, and sometimes nothing for a whole month. There's no job security here. And so one of the things that has to be done is at least the writers have to get started with that, and then we'll see what everybody else has to do. I feel like I'm talking your ear off
no,
here.
no, no, no. I'm like I like hearing these stories. Like I said, like this is stuff like I never hear when I'm doing the interviews. And
Yeah, because they're talking about their careers, and they're
well, yeah,
talking
of
about the
course.
big shows that they do. And I think maybe people are more interested in that anyway. So, I don't know. But again, to me, the biggest thing is our personal growth,
Yeah.
emotional growth, our personal growth, overcoming things. And that's where I am interested in
Mhm.
having a career that's going to really change people's lives in the best way, It can be done.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you're definitely doing it. So that's awesome.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to do it to a larger group. That's the basic
True.
thing. But personal growth, I would say, is something that's really number one for me. And it's hand in hand with what I do, you know,
Yeah.
because we could all grow. None of us are, otherwise we would be Gandhi or, Mother Teresa if we didn't.
Right, right,
They
exactly.
they needed to grow. So, it's as long as we're human, that's what we're here for. We're here on this planet to for particular purposes, and some of us know what it is, you know,
Mhm.
how we want to be in life. And I'm not talking about your job. I'm talking about how you live your life and
Yeah, yeah.
what you bring to the world, because it's never a process just about you.
You're right. You're right.
Always about all of us, because we all, we have opinions about everything, but we're all one. We really are. I know it's very Zen sound, but the human race is here. We're well. I could go into the woo-woo stuff. I won't. But, people say it's woo-woo. It's really not. It's, I've had a lot of tragedies in my life. I've survived those. And
Yeah.
I feel that, if I can do it, a lot of people can do it. It's really a matter of attitude. It's a matter of attitude and passion, and where do you want to go? What do you want to, how do you want to help people? How empathetic you are to other humans, no matter who they are. There's no such thing as I'm higher than you. Even
Oh,
if you're
yeah,
someone
exactly.
laying on the street, that's drunk or has issues with drugs,
Yeah.
you can't blame those people. They were, their circumstances brought them there, and they may not have the strength to overcome it. And for me, to help people do that is everything. So I really probably should be a drug counselor, but I'm not. I do it through my art rather than, and, and everybody's journey is their own. And, you can never understand somebody else's. You can't be in somebody else's shoes. So you can just be empathetic and try to help if you can.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, definitely. Yes. Well, we're coming up on an hour, I think this is. So I don't want to, I mean, I know you probably have stuff, like, I don't want to keep you, and plus when
Keeping
I
me.
post this to my account on it on Instagram, it only allows you up to fifth 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 59 minutes.
Yeah, that's an hour. We got one more minute.
So,
I would love
so
to have people get involved with my Instagram and whatever, if they want to follow me. And
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask, is like, where can fans follow you at?
so it's the Eve Austin and the number 1. Oh, no, that's no, wait. I changed it because I got hacked,
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, but it is, I think it's the Eve Austin one. What is it? I don't know. I gotta look up my own Instagram, for God's sakes. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. The Eve Austin one.
okay.
Yeah, it's the Eve EVEAUSTIN 1. I still have Facebook, and that's Eve Austin, and the same thing with Twitter. So that's one way to follow me, or just, Google me on IMDb. It's under Eve Austin. And
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this. No, I really loved listening to everything you were saying. Like I said, like, all the interviews that I've done, this is the first time I ever heard, like, what goes on behind the things, and like, this was really good. Like, I learned a lot about, like, film and television just from listening to you.
Well, I'm happy to help people. If you have people in the audience that want to know a little bit more about how to go about it or whatever, I'm very happy if they want to hit me up, to help them out a little bit. And yeah, you can have famous people and not famous people, and famous people generally talk about what they have to promote.
Yeah, basically.
They're
Yeah.
not going to tell you about the behind the scenes stuff, and
Yeah.
they're very busy. So am I, but different category at this point doesn't mean it's going to be there. Hopefully next year I'll have a movie in Cannes. That would be really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Maybe you'll come. You'll be
Yeah, yeah, I'm totally down for
the.
that. Yeah, definitely. I'm totally down for that.
All right. Well, it's really wonderful to meet you, Rocco.
Yeah, it
And
was really good meeting you too.
in July, maybe if you want, we can go ahead with the other project
Okay.
that you had asked about originally.
Yeah,
Not ready yet.
yeah, yeah. I definitely would love you to come back on and talk about the horror film when you're
Well,
allowed
yeah,
to.
but it would be with a group, which is
Well,
fine.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it didn't even touch their a Bobcat Moretti movie, which is it's a phenomenal movie, and they have sold it not only to a network, not network, excuse me, to a streamer, a very good streamer. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it is, but they've also gotten the airlines, and they've gotten certain hotels, and they've gotten limited distribution theatrical. Same guy, Rob Marlowe.
Really?
Yeah. He's good at what he does, and he does sell everything that he has. Yeah. Yeah. So you'll enjoy having a conversation with him in July.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Okay.
All right. Great talking to you, Rocco.
It was
We'll
really
see each
nice
other.
meeting you. Yes, it was really
Pleasure.
nice meeting you.
Pleasure to meet you too. I love people that overcome stuff, and man, you are doing it right there.
Thank you. I really appreciate that a lot. It it's not easy because you still have the people that are negative towards you and writing bad stuff about your speech, and you don't know how
Well,
to
isn't that
introduce them.
ridiculous? Isn't that ridiculous? People that do that have something lacking in themselves, so they
I
have to
know.
hit on you. And that's really their lesson. That's where they have to go.
I know. You're right.
Good
Yeah.
luck to them, I don't wish them badly. It's just stupid. And I
Yeah.
would totally ignore them.
I
It's
know.
their
That's what
problem,
I
not your
do.
problem.
When I first started reading them, I was taking it to heart, but then I was like, you know what, whatever. I was like, not everyone's gonna like how I talk, because you're gonna have some people that saying, "Oh, why is he stumbling over his words?" So I'm not gonna pay attention to them. Like I said, when I first started reading it like hurt, but now it's just like, all right,
Part
I've
of
seen so
life.
many of those comments, so now
Yeah,
I'm
but you
just
know what it is, Rocco? It's you have surpassed that.
yeah,
Put yourself out there.
yeah,
And how brave is that? Instead of hiding in the corner, you're now out there with people and talking to them. And, you have a real reason to show people how you've overcome. And that's, really something for them to learn how to do their own, how to overcome their own problems. So I think it's wonderful.
thank
Yeah.
you, I appreciate that.
We'll talk soon. Okay.
Definitely, yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking to you again in a
But
couple months.
reach out anytime. Okay.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you. See you soon. See you on the TV.
Yes, definitely.
Bye.
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 Bye.